Boy, Lauren dressed up for this one. Hi, Yvette. Good to see you.
Yeah, I think we got the whole crew either online. I guess is Cedric there in the room with you?
I'm going to hand it over.
All righty.
All right.
All right, Lauren, you want to get us going?
Where's Bruce?
Bruce is here. He's online. Okay, folks. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is the where are we here? Okay, wait, hold on. Let me get this on so we can be. All righty. Can everybody see my slides there?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we want to welcome you to the Chicago South panel. We have a very dynamic group of talented, motivated, dedicated people here. They're going to talk to you about investment opportunities. If you're here today or you were around yesterday, probably are interested in impact and impact investing. However, you're not going to really hear that word very much from us. You're not going to hear a lot of the alphabet soup, DEI, SEG. And while, these things are definitely important, what we want you to know is that we're going to talk to you about investment opportunities, activities that you can get involved in, that you can help us with, that you can be a part of, that are going to bring you a return on your investment just as good or anything that you would be experiencing with anything else that you're hearing here. Okay. So that's, as I say, that's what we're here to do, to talk to you about investment opportunities. I guess we can start by just telling you a little bit about how we got here. As Mark mentioned, we hosted a South Side tour, which was the first event for the Chicago Roundtable, which was the first day of the 361 Midwest Tour. If you've been around by now, if you've been around the 361 community, no doubt you've already heard a lot about the Midwest Tour. And so we were here in Chicago, really wanted to take the momentum from this South Side tour and use it to really implement and move on and work on some of the things that many of us have been working on for decades. You're going to get a chance to hear from the people on our panel, and they can tell you a little bit about themselves and what they're doing. I guess I would like to take a little bit of time here to just acknowledge some of the other folks. Sam Cashy, who I guess is there in New York with you, and Armanino. They've been really fantastic support for us. Bernita Johnson Gabriel, who is with CAST Cleveland Avenue. That's a fund here that probably knows as much or more about impact investing as anyone in Chicago. Nat Zasser, who joined in with us. Bill Marcus, who was with Green Axis. He's based in Glencoe, and so he's here with us in Chicago. And of course, I also want to give a shout out to Anand and Mark Sanner, basically for helping us document the South Side tour. So as I said, very dynamic group of people. I mean, just the talent that we were able to bring into the room to work on this initiative. We very quickly came up with what our objectives. One of the very first things that we, you could say, talked about or were able to determine is that there's already quite a lot going on here on the South Side. A lot of investment opportunities, a lot of groups, both nonprofit and entrepreneurs who are already doing a lot of exciting things here on the South Side. So basically what we did is we came up with, you could say, two basic objectives for what it is that we wanted to do. The first is, I say, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. That's not our intention. So you could say, um, most important objective is to amplify and accelerate. We want to amplify and accelerate existing investment opportunities. And we also are, along with the 361, wanting to build up this ecosystem that would include, accelerators, incubators, different funds working that can invest and support, enterprises at different levels of development. The second objective that we decided, or that we thought is important, is attracting new sources of capital. And we'll talk a little bit later about how we intend to leverage the resources that we can attract here in Chicago with sources of capital and resources through the 361 community. As I say, all of this with the intention of not only providing these investment opportunities, but also job creation and community revitalization. Okay, so like I said, that is the basic overview of where we are. So what I'd like to do now would be to present to you the other people here on the panel, and just let you know what actually here is going on and what you can do to get involved in it. First person that we're going to bring up, Bruce Montgomery, and he can tell you a little bit more in detail about what he's doing. But educator, fierce advocate for development here in Chicago, broadcaster, has a weekly radio program on one of the local stations here, WVON. And as I said, where he uses it as a spotlight and a megaphone to advocate for real development here in Chicago. So I would like to introduce to you Bruce Montgomery. Go ahead, take it away, Bruce.
All right. Do you want to bring up our slides, or you want me to share the screen?
Yes. No, here we go. I'll bring up your slide right here. Okay, there you go.
Okay, very good. Again, my name is Bruce Montgomery. I'm here in Chicago, 35 plus year veteran of the technology industry. Worked in a variety of aspects in technology, hardware, software, systems integration, also several venture capital backed startups and software. And for along those years, I've also been heavily engaged, always lived in Chicago, even though I worked for companies on both coasts, but a lifelong Chicago resident, and very much committed to rejuvenating Chicago's innovation ecosystem. I guess when you've been around for a few years, you reach your 60s, everybody wants you to provide a history and background lesson. So I've been chosen to give a little bit of background on Chicago. I know from the illustrious panels that I've watched over the last couple of days, I know there's some very distinguished liberal arts educated individuals. So you guys probably know everything I'm going to say, but I'm going to just give the history of Chicago in 2 minutes. So certainly, but I would say I've really enjoyed all the panels so far, and I want to give my hats off to Mark. There's been some really unintended consequences. Sometimes you look at these things and you think you're going to go there to be focused on one thing, but the mental health panel was phenomenal, and I enjoyed that quite a bit, and it is extremely relevant to quality of life issues all around the world, but here in Chicago in a very particular way. So again, Black Haitian put this place on the map. Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable started out with something called Fort Dearborn, which is a trading center. I like to say that what he started is what Chicago is known for around the world today, from the mercantile exchange, board of trade, trading activities, commodities markets. That's what DuSable was about. That's what Chicago was still about. 1871, a world's fire kind of wiped this place largely off the map. What came after that was the fastest growing city that the world has ever seen. And to tell the world about it, there was a series of World's Fairs that brought people from all around the world to see what was this miracle on the lakefront that we call Chicago. There was another thing that went on as we moved into the modern era called the Great Migration. This is where, after Reconstruction, African Americans came north in great waves and established the Black metropolis, sometimes called Bronzeville here in Chicago, which has been the epicenter of Black and urban entrepreneurship for decades. So again, Chicago, this estimable location, people coming here for a vocation, and still to this day, because of its location, is a destination for people to come far and wide and enjoy this very intensely diverse metropolis. It is diverse socially, it is diverse culturally, is diverse economically, and as a transportation, distribution, and logistics hub with airports and rail and also fiber optic, is still this equidistant point in the center of the United States. So it's a place that sometimes is flown over, but everything kind of passes through here. While it does offer world-class research in terms of some of the leading universities on the planet, and it's had this last couple of years has come to the fore as being a place where VCs and unicorns have been hatching at an previous rate of success. What we see right now in Chicago is in fact unsustainable, because Chicago is a clear tale of two cities. We've had a bifurcated economy, as many know, and even though some of the old firms have faded away, the loss of jobs, the all of the things that have beset modern society in America still is besetting this glorious place. And there is a need for near-term innovation to salvage how this city can be as significant as it has been moving forward. Next slide. So this is a call, as Mark and Lauren alluded to, we're looking for some action. This call today is a call for difference makers to stand up. And what I wanted to do in the brief time that I have is bring some evidence that Chicago is in fact turning the corner in a constructive way, and there is some leadership. We're looking for additional leadership because we must move from inequity to equity capital. We must move from shareholders to not only stakeholders, but stockholders, so that everybody can participate in the benefits of a free enterprise economy. So I'd like to just give a few quick examples of some things that I think are making a difference in the environment of investment and impact. One is something where the treasurer of the state of Illinois, as all of us know, there's a lot of public dollars that are part of the managed investment community. Pension fund dollars are the biggest dollars, and the state of Illinois treasurer saw fit to move some of the state of Illinois holdings out of safe areas into some areas that could really support the fact that people who've contributed to those state coffers deserve to see some of that money come back in some constructive ways, especially in terms of making equity capital available to venture opportunities that could create jobs. And so this firm, this entity called Cast Us, is actually a collaboration between a private venture capital company, Cleveland Avenue, a state of Illinois treasurer, and additional investors who wanted to put equity to work to drive innovation with Black and brown entrepreneurs. They raised about 70 or just under $100 million, and they're putting that capital to work right now in some very positive ways. So this is showing that public-private investment and collaboration can in fact happening, and it could be a replicable model around the United States. Also, government can set the table. The city of Chicago under Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and the comment was made earlier this morning about power really lies in the mayor's office and city halls around the United States, and that's absolutely correct. And so, to the credit of Mayor Lightfoot here in Chicago, she immediately recognized that the disinvestment on the south and west sides of Chicago were unsustainable, and put forth something called Chicago Invest Southwest, which is a $750 million commitment by the city to be an incentive for more people to come to the table and to make commitments to these underinvested areas in significant ways and bring these boulevards back online. Just for the point of clarity for this presentation today, I've provided an additional document which is available on the 361 firm website, probably attached to the presentation. So there are links to all of these things, and I'll also put that document in chat for anybody that wants to do a deeper dive on some of the things that I'm scurrying past right now. I've added to this last piece, I did an iteration on that, but I want to point the fact that there is, again, for the first time in probably my lifetime, I am seeing billion-dollar commitments to the south side of Chicago that is starting to move the needle in phenomenal ways. It starts out with previous President Obama. The Obama Presidential Center will be $1 billion commitment to the south side of Chicago. And right behind the president's announcement to build this Obama Presidential Library, which undoubtedly Illinois has the #1 presidential library in terms of tourist visits. That's the Lincoln Library in Springfield, Illinois. No doubt the Obama Presidential Center will bring millions of visitors to Illinois year in and year out, and also drive economic resiliency on the south side of Chicago. There's a multi-billion-dollar project that is coming right behind the Obama Presidential Center, and that is something called the Bronzeville Lakefront, which has taken a historic hospital and research facility that used to be the Michael Reese Hospital, for those that have some Chicago knowledge and history. That area, which is prime and right next door to McCormick Place, which is the largest trade center in United States, McCormick Place. Bronzeville Lakefront is looking at a 40-plus acre site and has a multi-billion-dollar focus, which is focused on life science, wellness, healthcare as its core component. And I think the last thing that I would mention in this area is we know that there's been a terrible imbalance in terms of making early stage capital available to Black and brown entrepreneurs. There's an entity called TechRise that's been having, in effect, a local Shark Tank activity, and they've been matching seed stage investments with Black and brown entrepreneurs every week for the last, I believe, 20 weeks. And it's been a phenomenal thing to begin to recognize that innovation is everywhere, and that innovation needs to show up to address some of the systemic imbalances that we have. Next slide, please. Okay, so, I wanted to speak to something that I thought had to be mentioned. And again, the goal is to bring somebody talked about this notion of build back better. Well, the good old days weren't all that good, as was mentioned. A lot of things got left off the table, and I would hate to see us build back the same things the same kind of way. So this is really a call for everyone who's participating in this program, because out of your portfolio, I would hope it could parallel some of the commitments that we see, or just the president just signed this historic legislation on Monday. And I've heard through reports that Illinois is scheduled to get $17+ billion from the Biden infrastructure bill. So one thing early stage and innovative companies need is a customer. This seems like this is a great chance to deploy some of the innovations that come from the portfolios of family offices and venture and equity investors to put a pin on getting these innovations in place as a result of this historic spending of dollars. A lot of these dollars are taxpayers' dollars, the taxpayers' dollars that Black and brown people paid into. It's time that we see a way to be part of this process, not just a bystander or witness to it. So here are some of the ways that this $17 billion is going to be chopped up in Illinois. $2 billion to improve drinking water, $10 billion federal highway projects, $2 billion bridge replacements, $4 billion to improve public transportation, $100 million for broadband upgrades, $600 million airport upgrades. Everybody's all hooping and hollering about electric vehicles, but if you look at where electric vehicle charging stations are, it looks like a red line map that takes you back to like when those good old days weren't so good. So if electric vehicles are going to be what they potentially can be, they need to have charging networks that are equitably distributed. $150 million on the table for that, and a few other areas like the ones that are mentioned. Next slide, final slide. So again, this is a call to lead by example. What I've heard today and over the last couple of days, and again, when I participated, thanks to Lauren and Mark with the tour to Chicago, it is so impressive to see the range and the breadth of innovations that also could be business opportunities for folks like myself and others to bring these innovations to bear on market opportunities here in Chicago. Now, somebody might look at that and says, well, why didn't the spell check fix solutions? Well, it did, but then I changed it back, because to bring your soul to the party means that you bring your entire mind, spirit, soul, and body. I want the people on this call today to bring their soul. I mean, what do they feel? There's got to be some feeling behind investments, not just analytical ROI numbers and mental exercises. Sometimes you just feel it's the right thing to do, and you put some dollars behind that feeling. That's what we're looking for here in Chicago. My name is Bruce Eric Montgomery. Look forward to having additional conversations with everybody in the 361 community, and thank you for your time.
As I said, one of the most fierce advocates that we have here in Chicago for Black entrepreneurship and development on the South Side. I would like to add a note to that when Bruce is talking about, the feelings and how we feel. What we're looking for is to build sustainable development. Okay, one of the things I can point out on you could say a macro level, Black Americans are contributing anywhere from 1.2 to 1.4 trillion dollars every year into the American economy, and that's just our spending. That's just the money that we spend from our earnings. Okay, that doesn't even, talk about the other, economic impact or economic contribution we're making. So in a lot of ways, when we talk about access to capital, we're not even talking about how much we should get, as much as what is it that we can do to try to retain some of that $1.4 trillion. It's said that a dollar circulates in the Chinese American community for about a month, right, before it finds its way back into the larger economy. Black communities, about an hour, about 1 hour. That's about how long we hold on to our capital before we have to send it back out into the larger community. So as I say, a lot of what we're talking about is really aimed at sustainability. Okay, next up. As I say, so much talent on this team. One of the people that we have is been 25 years working here in Chicago in the investment space. Gerald Beecham, are you there? Okay, where was he here? I saw him on earlier. Yeah, Gerald. Okay, I tell you, he must have stepped off. So what we're going to do, we'll fast forward. Cedric, are you there?
Lauren?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, so I will speak on Gerald's slide real briefly. What we wanted to do was just show, different stages, types, and opportunities within that Chicago space. And Gerald had put together a list of a couple of investable opportunities right now. Okay. Sure. Good morning. My name is Cedric Watkins, and I'm founder and CEO of DAP Inc., Diversified Agricultural Products. And we are a financial advisory firm focused on sustainable and regenerative processes, primarily hemp and cannabis or cannabinoid-based products and processes. Kind of inverting, again, Gerald had a couple of ventures that are, yep. Okay, here we go. So again, these are not my slides, but I will. So as Bruce eloquently introduced the history and the soul of Chicago, again, we wanted to highlight investable opportunities right now, and then I will go through a slide of opportunities that we personally are involved with that we're hoping that the 361 firm community would also. So there's a group, Nature's Find, that is producing, what are they doing? A protein. Okay, so he's. Whose slide is that? Okay, that's not my slide either.
Lauren, can you go back? Lauren, can you go back to the to Gerald's slides?
Yeah, we'll do briefly. So again, Nature's Fine, they just raised $500 million. I believe they're doing a plant-based protein manufacturing facility is again gonna be on that kind of south side. This yellow banana, a grocery store, I think they've been recapitalized. They're looking to kind of integrate into that south side. This green era, to be honest with you, I don't know what that is. But the point being is there are opportunities right now to invest in the south side that have already been vetted, already at scale. And I think Gerald says you would not be a pioneer to invest in these type of opportunities that support the type of sustainable development that we're all here speaking about and impact. Lauren, you can go to my slide, please. And I've had the pleasure, not that slide, that's okay, of being involved with 360 for about a year now. And again, we were already working with a portfolio of companies producing, again, sustainable and regenerative processes. One of those companies is Province Brands. And what Province Brands does, again, after cannabinoid products are produced, there's a waste that is produced. That waste that is produced then is able to be developed into other monetizable commodities. They produce a natural sweetener, has some nutritional components. They're a little different than regular.
Use the mic.
Yeah, a little different than regular sugar. They also produce an ingredient for ready-to-drink mix, seltzers, things of that nature. So again, the idea of leveraging local or regional agriculture to support light manufacturing is kind of the thesis of these opportunities. There's a second opportunity that if Lauren can see and put it up on the screen. Sure. And the other opportunity is, again, the manufacturing of sustainable packaging, leveraging, again, the hemp and cannabis biomass that we do foresee being able to be leveraged within the south side of Chicago, producing commodities that the community is consuming. And then we will pass on to Yvette. Do you want to introduce Yvette, Lauren?
And what we will do is we'll make all of these materials available. I've forwarded most of this stuff to Anessa at 360. And also, of course, if you talk to Cedric or Sam there in New York, they can help you and connect you with these materials that we have. Okay, so I guess moving on then. Next up, we have Yvette Moyo, who basically is the one who more or less stepped up, and she can tell you about it, stepped up to sponsor the South Side Tour. The reason why I'm really excited about working with Yvette and having Yvette as part of the 361 community, she is what I would consider an example of the best example of a social entrepreneur. Okay, someone who is both working on community initiatives, but is keenly aware of the importance of economic development and has folded most of the activities that she's doing, you could say, both on the philanthropic side and the entrepreneurial side. So I present to you Yvette Moyo. Take it away, Yvette. Okay, you got to unmute yourself. You're muted.
Happens at least once a day.
Yes.
Welcome. Hey, I'm happy to be here. Uh-oh, my screen just went away. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, so my screen is totally blank. I don't know why, but thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I think I'm just here to simply say thank you to Mark and to actually give you an idea what the spirit of the South Side is really about. And I've been asked to showcase and probably do a case study of some of the things we've been involved in without investment whatsoever, so that you can get an idea of what the spirit of the activities would be if you should look at any of those opportunities that have been previously presented to you on these slides. So, our nonprofit is, well, our activity for our nonprofit was to challenge Mark to say that you can't come to Chicago without coming to the areas, if you're talking about impact investment, and coming to some of the areas that have been most negatively impacted by, the racial economic exclusion of of parts of our community in South Shore and in Chicago, South side of Chicago, and South Shore is one of them. So I'm going to just give you a case study of what we've been doing with our social enterprise, Real Community Investment Group, which owns the Quarry Event Center in a South Side strip that has been neglected for decades, where there are absentee landlords that find some type of advantage to not participating in the community and owning shuttered venues that we're having a very hard time getting into to change our community. And these strips I'm going to talk to you with you about. So basically, what we did in a community that was called Terratown for the number of the violence that was taking place, this turned it into something after working since 2014 in this area that was referred to by one of the residents as the corner of love. And the reason is that we distributed over 1 million pounds of food to the community during the height of COVID, when our community was considered one of was one of the number one cities for deaths to COVID. And we also provided coats and other kinds of supports to the community. It is what we've been able to do without investment that has made a difference, which is to demonstrate to you what might be done on the South Side with your sophisticated way of investing and looking at opportunities. So 361 is to be commended for immediately responding to our challenge to visit the South Side. And Cedric Walker, who you just heard from, is here in New York, and Anon got a chance to get the tour with me, and which was dispelling myths that they had themselves about what the South Side must be like, totally depressed and scary. And it was not. It's full of green. We've got the lakefront. We've got many assets that are very attractive to people that are hungry to travel all over the world right now to get towards some water and some greenery. And we've got plenty of it right here in Chicago. And so while our accomplishments pale in comparison to the multi-million dollars that you're looking to examine, the opportunities the South Side group is presenting are much greater. So the message I was asked to communicate is what we've done as a single entity. We're located a mile away from the Obama Center, where the construction has already started, which will generate lots of a tremendous amount of tourists to the area, as well as visits from people in other parts of Chicago and the suburban areas that don't usually travel this far south. So the Obamas are to be commended for that. So we already have that area of interest. So whatever you do on the South Side will be able to be leveraged from that kind of international visibility. Our community activities have included magazine publishing, the venue ownership that I just talked about, and the nonprofit in the area of food stability and mental health. So I'm very, very excited about what we've done today in the area of mental health. We've been a go-to operation for community mental health, which is really has contributed to some of the negative things that you hear about sometime on the South Side. But that's not all that's happening on the South Side. So I'm going to just wrap up quickly, but I want to let you know that one of the areas that we work in is that strip, 75th Street south to the lake, where Michelle Obama actually wrote about in her book. That is a corridor that definitely needs attention, and 79th Street. And there is a plan for these that any investor could plug into and reap benefits but we're only inviting those that are willing to build these relationships and to be in touch with their soul, which is what Bruce talked about, to partner with people that are already there to make a difference in these communities. So in addition to what we do on the South Side, we build 2 national brands. So we're not just sitting on a corner in a storefront. The Real Men Cook for charity, which Mark mentioned, has generated millions to nonprofits. So we're based on self-help. So this is not a charity effort that we're pursuing here. It is really business development. I might not be in those business developments because my entities are not that large. But again, I'm representing to you the spirit of the South Side and what we call South Side Drive, which is also the name of our magazine, South Side Drive. And the other national brand that we created is Moby, Marketing Opportunities in Business and Entertainment. It's an advanced.
Inessa, can you let me go back to the screen share? Can you go out so I can, while she's wrapping up, can you?
And I can't see the screen. Are we over time, Lauren? Because I could.
No, you can wrap it up.
Okay.
Inessa, can you
not
Inessa, can
sharing
you
the
take out
screen.
the screen share, please? Thank you. Go on. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Yvette.
All right. So I was Moby Marketing Opportunities in Business and Entertainment is the 30-year-old brand. So we're not new to the party. We're talking about 30 years and a 33-year-old brand. And Moby is not just a consumer market, it is a B2B market move to get Black people to get some of the dollars and to partner to accelerate their businesses, brands, and careers. We've been successful in that for 30 years. I'm going to just thank you for the opportunity to be part of the Southside group. I believe that we are very committed, and there is certainly should be high interest for this innovative kind of a spinoff within 361 that we have in a particular part of the country that certainly requires your attention. So I commend this effort, and I encourage you to be the difference makers, and encouraging you, as Bruce said, to please stand up. My work here is simply to provide you with an idea of what can be done without investment, and with your investment, how much greater things could be.
Thank you, Yvette. Okay, we're wrapping up here. As we said, one of our intentions, especially today, is to talk about how we can leverage resources and capital via the 361 network. It's been a kind of an organic process. Mark maybe can talk about this a little bit if he has time, afterwards, or if we've got like some minutes here. But also want to let you know that, we are, as I say, these are investments. These are investments. We know what the requirements of capital are, and that, your main objective is a return on investment and to make sure that there is some measure of due diligence. So Mark allowed me to share this slide with you. This is showing, in a sense, the system that we are trying to develop in order to vet and have the required due diligence for anything that we're going to be doing through this network in this community. Sam Cashy, are you there? Sam.
Yeah,
Sam wasn't officially on the panel, but since he's there in New York, I wanted to speak for these last two slides that we have there to talk about, that talks about next steps and where we're going from here. Sam Cashy, are you there?
I am here. Thank you. So what's our role for you? We're going to be your concierge. Those who want to self-identify and say, I'm interested in learning more, this team will work with you and help you align to your investment thesis. Some of you are real estate investors. Some of you are industrial investors. Some of you are interested in emerging markets like cannabis. Others, technology are important. I love the, Jeanette, what you were talking about in the entrepreneurs, and Illinois has a whole program about social justice cannabis license, and that stuff is happening. I would imagine some of your constituents could be there, or they may not even know about what you're doing, and I think that's something we should collaborate on. And then the next slide, Lauren, but we're going to change the email address. We'll send a new one. We're not going to use that. We're going to use, it's not set up yet, but feel free to email this team, email me personally. We're going to be at your concierge to help you navigate this if you're really interested. And again, Bruce posted information to the site to give you some background on the velocity that's already happening here. But please join us for our breakouts. And I think that's where we're going next, Mark. And so We're going to work together with you, and we're going to make an impact in Chicago, in a neighborhood that has a lot of potential and a lot of velocity that's already there. And we're just going to amplify and we're going to accelerate what's going on there. So thanks for your time. Is it? Yep. So we're going to Spruce. We're going to spruce up Chicago and go to Spruce.
There you go. Okay.
Come join our 361 firm community of investors and thought leaders. We have a lot of events created by the community as we collaborate on investments and philanthropic interests. Join us.